Welcome to the Weekly Juice Podcast, where we discuss all things real estate, personal finance, investing, entrepreneurship, and the many ways to achieve financial independence. We interview accomplished investors and entrepreneurs with the goal that their stories inspire you to take control of your financial future. Here to get your creative juices flowing, while also documenting their own personal investing journeys, are your hosts, Corey Jacobson and Ryan Bevilacqua.
Welcome back to the Weekly Juice. As always, it's your boys, Ryan and Corey, here with another episode for you. We're very excited about today's episode, and what we are going to do with this episode is announce a partnership that we've formed over the last few months. One of our previous guests and now good friend, Jonathan J.D. Dempsey. He owns a short-term rental, hospitality, and property management company up in the Poconos and also in Philadelphia. And JD was, like I mentioned on our podcast, probably, I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 months ago.
I think it was maybe longer. It might have been 6 or 7 months ago, but Live Free Hospitality is the name of the company, right? We got to shout that out. But yeah, he was on, I think in the like 120s range. We could definitely check on that. But that was when we first met JD, and we ended up buying we're going to get into it in the episode. We ended up buying a short-term rental through his company, and now we've joined forces. So we've been talking about it on, I would say, a number of episodes. We just haven't officially and formally announced the partnership, so that's kind of what today's episode's for.
Yeah, Corey said that very eloquently. So we are going to be rolling out the partnership today, just to let you guys know what we've been doing behind the scenes for the last couple months. But without further ado, we want to welcome back JD to the show. So JD, thanks for joining us, man. We're excited to have you on here today.
Yeah, it's good to be back. And I didn't realize after 5 or 6 months that we'd be sitting here yet again, but here we are.
Here we are, man. It's exciting times. I think a lot of people have been, as Corey mentioned, kind of hearing us like sneak preview it on some episodes and curious of what we've been doing. But to catch people up, we bought a short-term rental through your company back, I think it was back in the fall, like October of 2020.
Yeah, we closed in September, yeah.
Yep, and it's been going great. I mean, as far as bookings go as of today, the summer's almost booked up. So we've had a lot of highs with your company, and we decided, as Corey mentioned, to join forces with you. But I want to at least bring people back, if they haven't heard the previous episode, and just go through kind of a history of how you got into real estate, who you are, and just give us the background of the Live Free movement, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I'd love to. So getting into real estate kind of happened by accident. I was living with one of my buddies. I was living in his attic, paying rent. He was house hacking. And that's the moment I knew I wanted to get into real estate. So I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, decided I was going to buy a house myself and do the same thing. I accidentally got into short-term rentals at the same time, because once I bought that house to house hack, there was a room open, and I decided to Airbnb it until my friend could move in. That one bedroom covered the entire mortgage for the 4-bedroom house just on Airbnb. So I knew if I started doing entire houses instead of just a shared room in a 4-bedroom house, I could definitely clean up from there. And it's been crazy seeing how much has changed in what I've been able to learn in short-term rentals from when I just threw that room up, basically outfitted, was cleaning myself, doing the whole game myself, to now what we do with Live Free Hospitality.
Love it, man. Yeah, so to go back to when we've previously had you on, you actually applied. It's funny, you applied to be on the show, and I think you maybe got connected with one of my friends from high school. We had you on the show, then we ended up connecting and saying previous to that, we've been talking about getting into short-term rentals for a while. We finally found the right person to go into business with from that aspect, where Live Free Hospitality would manage our personal property. And then kind of as that relationship grew, it just made more sense. And the whole reason we're doing this episode, not just to announce the partnership, but there's actually a lot of ways that we can bring value to our audience by having you being the audience, purchase a short-term rental through our company, right? Live Free Hospitality, and or manage an existing one. I just wanted to throw that at the beginning of the episode. We're going to talk about it as we get towards the end, but like one of the reasons why we're doing the podcast, I think it would be good to bring it up in the beginning. So not to cut you off, JD, but I think that was great. Thanks for telling the back end of your story. I want to hear more specifically now kind of about Live Free Hospitality. Well, before we even get there, maybe like the scaling of your portfolio, actually, because you were talking about house hacking, get the bug. Then you grew to like 20 something units pretty quickly. So before we get into actually the company Live Free, what did you do between that time of that house hack and then scaling your portfolio?
Yeah, sure. So I'll dial it back. I had the financial freedom bug early on. It was actually started when I had a job managing an LA Fitness. I would get like a 3-hour break and I would lift and I would skateboard and I would notice how nice it is outside. And I was working from 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. And I just quit my job and did a six-week road trip across the country. And after that, I thought I never wanted to go back to being corporate. I did. I got a job at an insurance company. It was a great job, great company. But I started getting the bug again to want to be able to kind of choose what I do with my time. So from there, I started with a house hack. After the first house hack, I just kept house hacking until I ended up stacking up 6 houses over the course of 3 years. After I got to the 6th house, the short-term rental income was more than what my job was paying me, and it made it really hard to work, knowing that my passive income was more than the time I was spending at work all day. So I decided to take a leap of faith, quit, and get into real estate full-time, mostly as an investor, being able to spend more time checking out investments. But I got my real estate license, and from there, it just kept going. Once I was full-time in real estate, it was way easier to find good deals. I felt like I was learning a lot faster. And at this point, I have equity stake in over 70 rentals. So it's definitely exploded once I got full-time.
I didn't even think I knew that about you. I don't know if you mentioned that in the first podcast episode that you did the road trip. I don't think I knew that you worked at. Did you know you worked at LA Fitness?
I know the LA Fitness part. I knew that he was in insurance, and then the back. Between you and me, dude, I can't see you rocking a suit and tie every day, going to the 9-to-5 lifestyle. You got the long hair, the relaxed demeanor. So I think, and not judging a book by its cover by any means. I know you, but
now that we know it,
but it parlays into the live free hospitality or the live free movement, right? So I want to start there with when I first came across your page. It was Live Free with JD, and then I noticed a bunch of other people had handles like Live Free with Mikey, Live Free with Ty, and I was like, wow, there's this whole little movement of people that have these same handles. So, obviously we got the backstory from you, but I'm hoping you can give our audience the backstory of the Live Free, what that means, and then how you parlayed that into your company and kind of like essentially bringing the brand to life.
Yeah, so the Live Free movement is all about being able to take your skill set and put it into something that will give you time freedom. It was really scary for me to leave that corporate job and go full-time into real estate, even though I was making good money with the short-term rentals. I just knew that I needed the time flexibility. And like you said, meeting me now, I fell out of place in corporate, dressing up every day. I still had long hair back then, and I know people in the office weren't fond of it. So I just knew I didn't belong there, but I knew I could work hard, and I was doing really well in the corporate world. But I knew if I applied that to my own stuff, I could do well as well. So it all started with me taking that plunge. And then shortly after, I met Tyler, who is kind of my right-hand guy now and runs a lot of our operations. I met him through social media. He hit me up, and I didn't realize it at the time, but he was going through like a quarter-life crisis where he was about to quit his job from a big accounting firm, move into the city, and start a new life. So I didn't realize it when he like kind of applied to live with me after saying I had a room open in one of my house hacks. But seeing what that did for him, getting out of the world that he was in, being able to chase something with me and pursue his own thing, I realized we were onto something. So Live Free Movement is all about giving people an opportunity, if they're going to work hard, to create a life that they like living. So it's happened with our interior design company. We now have a remodeling company that's getting started. Pretty much every aspect of the rental business is starting to get filled by people who want to fill it.
Yeah, before we get too deep into the business, I just want to say it's amazing to see what you've done already. It truly is a full service team and we got that firsthand experience working with you starting last September, October, where we worked with you to get a short-term rental under contract. You had all the contacts to essentially get us to closing. And as soon as we got to closing, we worked with Lab Creates Design, who is run by your brother and his girlfriend. And essentially they came in and designed the whole property and said, hey, what's your budget? We'll come in. They send renderings and designs, and we got to pick what we wanted. And then the operations team went in with Lab Creates and then made it beautiful. And then as soon as they were done, we were able to start listing it. And then you had the whole system. I won't even get into that. I don't want to give away too much of the magic, but the system you have in place through boots on the ground, VAs, cleaners, and pricing is absolutely insane. I know right now we have about 150 units under management. I don't know exactly what you had at that time, but just to watch you manage ours and even a couple others, I was like, wow, that must be insane to do on a daily basis. Then to get access to the back of house system and see the real matrix of what was going on, absolutely blew my mind to see what you guys are doing. And then just watching this thing kind of evolve over time has been it's been a pleasure, man, because hearing the backstory of you, there's a lot of people out there who are maybe stuck in a world that they don't feel they belong, and they know they have a lot to give and have an internal motor, right? They just feel like, hey, this is not the right industry for me. So to see you shine and do your thing on a daily basis has been so cool. And I mean, we can fast forward a little bit. We got through October, November, December, January of the year. I believe your company, let's talk about like the pivotal change in the company. I think you came to us and said, hey, listen, like I'm going to be starting my own thing. At that one point you had a partner and you're like, listen, for whatever reason, XYZ isn't working out. And you were going to take your own team and move to the Poconos. We started this adventure in Philadelphia. That's where home base was. And then you guys were like, all right, we're going to move to the Poconos, bring the whole Live Free squad up there. Everyone's going to have their own lane and we're just going to take it over. So take us to why the Poconos and then kind of that journey of how you wove us into the plans.
Yeah, sure. So the decision to go to the Poconos was easy. It was just like getting into real estate. It felt right. It felt like we had spent our time in the city. We had been shipping boxes into there's a big house for the city, but there's not much space, and my entire living room and kitchen were filled with packages. And we were ready to get out to somewhere that had more space, easier to drive around, easier to park, easier to set up an operation, but as well as houses that are more unique and more meant for short-term rental. The Poconos market is a traditional vacation market. Every house is different. And they're as saturated as it is in some capacity. It's still so old school. A lot of the real estate salespeople up here and brokers who manage property they run everything super old school. They answer every message themselves. They're just on VRBO. Their pictures are awful. So to be able to take a professional aspect and plug it into every piece of short-term rentals up here, the market is ripe for the picking for us.
I really like that. And so I think you mentioned that to me before when we were starting into, because we were like, all right, this is our first short-term rental. We're not sure about the Poconos. All we know is that, hey, we've been a bunch of times and it's good for Jersey, Philadelphia, and New York people it's a short drive, right? For them to go up to the mountains for the weekend. And what we really liked about it was, hey, it's when I say seasonal, it's kind of year round, right? There's only a couple dead months there, but what we really like about the winter is it's close to, there's so many mountains up there for skiing, snowboarding, tubing, snowmobiling, ATVs. And then, you kind of go into the dead months were March and April. We've just experienced that. But then the hot months are like May through, I think it's around August, September. And the summer months kill because there's houses on the lake. People are getting up there to do, whether it's hiking, camping. There's so many things you can possibly do. You probably know way more than I do at this point, but that's what really attracted us. We're like, okay, we don't want to just get a place that is going to be hot for a couple months of the year. We want it as much well-rounded and year-round as possible. So that's why we decided to jump in. And to your point, for you guys to find a market that's ripe for the picking, where you can go in and take that old school or that new school mentality and kind of flip the old school on their head. I think that's where your competitive advantage is and what we've seen so far. I mean, just from the listings altogether now, you are truly set apart from others, where it's not only of the logo, the brand, which we'll get into, but the high quality photos and then the customer service aspect too, with like 2 seconds or 3 seconds in between every message. We'll get to that. I'm probably misspeaking there, but
Couple minutes.
Couple minutes, 3 seconds. Yeah, Jesus, that's impossible. But a lot of fun facts and stats that we'll go through. But let's talk about the first project that you guys took under, the first big project you took over in the Poconos, because I think that's what really helped Corey and I kind of dive all in. It was seeing you guys take this thing on head on and not having a ton of experience in that aspect before, but talk about the 43 unit and kind of why you guys moved up there.
Yeah, we'll talk about, before you jump in, we'll talk about how we fit into that 43 unit as well, but give us the picture on it.
Yeah, totally. I just want to dial back one sec to mention why we looped you guys in to Live Free Hospitality. You had asked me that earlier. So now that you had already bought your first short-term rental, you guys were investors on the 43 unit. You had a good taste of everything and how everything operates, and seeing it after just getting out of the old partnership, I realized you guys have a lot of passion for the short-term rental, for investing. You're vested in what we're doing, and to get an owner's perspective and investor's perspective on everything that's happening was really important to me. I like to call the shots and run my own show, but having some feedback from clients is huge. And on top of that, I like to run the operations. So for me to sit back, do the pricing, make sure everything and all the stats we'll talk about later are going perfect, and not have to worry as much about the marketing or where the next unit might come from, and have some help with that. Because I like doing sales, but I would much rather make sure the house is good at home, and I think we are a perfect fit for that.
Yeah, I to add off that, JD, I think Rye and I are, I mean, people know that listen to us, we still have our full-time jobs, so being operational on a project like this would be near impossible for us. So, but we have built the podcast for over 3 years. We built our social media up, and that marketing and that networking experience to introduce you and the Live Free team to the right people to help grow the business, we felt that was kind of the meshing point, right, between us, where you're going to handle all of the cleanings, you're going to handle all of the maintenance, you're going to handle all of the operations, all of the contracting, the putting the team in place, the hiring the correct people, and then we can help market, bring on new units, connect the right investors to you for the Sweet Pea deal that we'll talk about, the 43 unit, where we've helped raise some money for, and then also try to find other units or other maybe disgruntled investors who own their own short-term rentals that want Live Free Hospitality to manage them too. So just to add some color into that, I think that is why it felt so right for us, but we wanted to dive in on our own short-term rental first to see what it was like, because we had some growing pains, and not to any fault of Live Free Hospitality. It was more so like Ryan and I were like, oh wait, we actually need to dump some serious cash into this thing to get it flowing. And you were seeing now May and June is 60% already stacked up. I don't even know if we have any bookings left, opportunities for bookings left in May, because we just invested a significant amount of money into it. So learning that model, now we're able to take it to other people and tell them, this is what we did, this is what's going to work for you. And I think it's the perfect point to have this episode to try to bring more people on. But that's kind of the background there. So
yeah, I mean, you guys saw it instantly. And that's how the market up here works, is if you put a little bit of effort into the design, not that we started off weak, but to pump some money into it and get the design to where it needs to be, you guys are already in such a great place for the summer, much better than the average. And you noticed that effect as soon as the new pictures went up from the work you guys did to the house. So it was cool to see that pay off and that instant gratification, I'm sure.
it was.
We went through some. It did not feel instant to me.
No, it wasn't instant. It wasn't, because we launched in October, and this is why you have to do these things to learn. Like, and we're candid and we're transparent. Like, we thought this person who ran the property before us used it as a short-term rental, I believe. I didn't know if I saw the listing, but they did, yeah. But there was a reason they were selling it, because it wasn't hugely successful. When we saw it for the first time, we're like, oh, this place looks great. But not knowing, like, no, we need to have a new hot tub, a grill pit, a fire pit, make sure all the decor is perfect. And in doing all that, we're like, oh, okay, I see why this is going to be profitable now. I see why this is going to be successful. And that's the whole model behind the Live Free Hospitality business, is that these properties have to be elite. We've talked about this on another number of episodes. They can't just be average, because there's a lot of people that are in the market. So separating ourselves as having elite properties with elite photos, with elite maintenance request times, with elite cleaning, like all of this stuff is going to get people coming back and over and over and over again, and then not just booking through VRBO and Airbnb, but like we connected you with Mark from Boostly, where we've built out our own site so that people can book direct. And so that whole thing there, I think, was one of the eye-opening experience for us to go through it ourselves. And now we have every utensil to use to try to bring more people on, knowing that we've done it.
Yeah, I'm so much more confident, 6 months later, because we went through it ourselves in a way. Like, JD, you gave us the flexibility to say, hey, like, if you guys want to alter photos, do you want to change the decor? If you have thoughts, we welcome them. And that was, the benefit of working with you. to go through this, but for people that want to take on this thing their own, it's extremely difficult because there's professionals like our team and others out there that are just doing it at such a high clip. It's so hard to compete with them. And that's what I was noticing when we first started out. Like we kept some of the original photos that the other owner had, and the listing was, we didn't know anything. We just decided to write up a listing. There's so many intricate details, from the photo reels, the captions, to the journey that a prospective guest comes through when they first see the listing, to following through and getting updates from the team, whether it's communication, checking in for a welcome message, a check-in message, a check-out message, making sure linens are clean. There's so many intricate details, and I'm going to forget a million of them, but that's what I realized when I got through a couple months with this thing. We're like, whoa, thank God we have JD's team to bounce ideas off of and to get this thing sharpened, because doing it on our own, I don't think we would have succeeded, truly.
No, we 100% would not have. But there's a lot of people that we follow that have systems in place to self-manage. And for long-term rentals, it's one thing, but for short-term rentals, it's a whole another thing. And that's kind of why we advocate for this business, is that there's enough margin in there for investors to make money if their systems on the back end are really good. And who do you want to trust to put those systems in? You, who've never done it before, or a team like Live Free Hospitality?
Exactly. I think the benefit for people listening too is if you've ever been interested in a short-term rental, we are specifically in the Poconos market. Like that's the area we're taking over now. The benefit is twofold. It's not only you're getting the elite boots on the ground, but you're getting elite marketing. We, as Corey mentioned, we've used all our resources with professionals that we've had on the podcast and have connected them with JD and the team. And we're synergizing everything together to be like, okay, we have the cream of the crop in the direct booking market, the marketing market, and the boots on the ground market, or arms, if you will, and we just mush them together. We have a logo. The Live Free Hospitality logo's sick. We had a professional come and do that. The new website's up. We are putting a bunch of QR codes in the units, so that way when you scan it, you can either leave a Google review, you can go book on Airbnb, you can book on our direct booking site, you can check out the Instagram. Everything's just flowing in the right direction. And then you already have the team that is super seasoned, which is JD's team, to go in and manage the property. It's the customer service that I really think is setting us apart. And you could go over some of these stats.
Yeah, that's what I want to get into.
I do want to touch on the 43 unit because we glazed over it, but let's start the stats that I do want to cover is like, you have a bunch of people working behind the scenes that are direct with communication. Can you talk about the 5-star reviews, the communication, like how quick everything is, and then the number of perfect cleans you guys have had?
Yeah, sure. So communications is one of my favorite things to track. So we get about 250 messages a day across the portfolio, which is roughly 10 an hour. And the average response time, no matter what time of day it is 3.9 minutes. And we hover. It's been as fast as 1.8. I had to tell them to slow down a little bit because they're too fast. Feel like they're scaring the guests a little bit. But yeah, so 3.9 minutes at any time of the day. From a maintenance perspective, 98% of things get taken care of within 24 hours. And the only reason there's that 2% gap is because we allow the guests, if they notice an issue, we'll offer to fix it immediately. But if they want to wait until after they check out, then we have to wait a couple of days. So that stack gets skewed a little bit. From a cleaning perspective, we did 541 cleans last month, and only 4 of them had any guests complain about anything in the unit. So that's 99.2% perfect clean rate. Really happy with that one as well.
Awesome. Yeah, so it's like, really, when we talk about the management business, it's not like long-term management. It's like owning a hotel that has all the rooms in drives away. They're not all in one area. So it's like owning a hotel that you have to continually have synergized by making sure that all of it's getting cleaned, there's all the maintenance is going on, all the guests are happy. That's the most important thing. So that's great.
JD's team is like the all-star team of front desk hosts at a hotel.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they have
concierge.
There you go.
Yeah.
They have every single thing you could need, and that's what I truly like about it. When you say full service, it truly is full service. I already talked about that previously, but having someone that can handle maintenance, but then also handle new design, new business, bringing in other units, and then kind of just keeping, what was it, like customer service to keep everybody happy that's already under the current umbrella. I think the cool thing for what you have going on now, JD, is not only can you take on new units? As in, anyone that's interested in a short-term rental in the Poconos, you can connect them with properties. Your team underwrites them, which is great. And you can spit out a cash-on-cash return that's projected based on the numbers and the trends of the market. And then once they get under contract with you, once it comes full circle and gets closed, then we take it under management, and then your team does their thing. Then also, there's other people that currently have portfolios in the Poconos, which you've already seen. I think there was 20 to 25 units that just came under the Live Free umbrella from a company that was, hey, they needed a little bit of help. The reviews weren't quite there. Just things were a little bit off. They didn't have the time and energy to focus on it. And you're like, hey, listen, here's what we have going on. Here's our stats. Do let us come in and take over. And you could talk about that too. But I think it's cool there's a lot of opportunity for people that are seeking investments. I will also say this is kind of me parlaying back into the Sweet Pea deal and the 43 unit. So you have some really cool projects that outside of like management, right? These are more like you guys went in and flipped their properties.
We're owners in them. Yeah.
So it's kind of more, I think people can think about it as kind of a syndication, but it's more so a group of investors kind of came in together and took down a massive deal. And JD's team moved to the Poconos, lives at the 43. So basically it's a 43 unit resort. And JD's team moved up there. They live in specific units, and they're currently flipping other units to making them high-scale cabins and essentially renting some of them out on short-term rental bases, some on midterm, and then some on long-term. JD, I don't want to butcher it, so I'm going to let you take us from start to finish on the 43. Like, how did you find it? Why did you guys decide to take this specific one on? And then, kind of what's your outlook on it on the future?
Yeah, sure. So it was the right prototype for us. It actually happened. Tyler ended up finding it late night, one night on LoopNet. So I'm sure you guys are guilty of the same thing, as is most of your audience, spending a lot of late nights on Zillow, just daydreaming. Tyler and I were doing the same thing. He found this place on LoopNet, and it was perfect for us because it's 27 short-term rental units, little cabins and cottages spread across 11 acres. And then there's also long-term apartments. So it kind of acts as a hybrid, and it was nice to go in with most of the units already leased. So it worked as a BRRRR deal, just with much less risk on the holding costs because there were already tenants in place. So we were able to just go through and renovate the units as they opened up. And we live on site, so it's really easy to project manage because I can just walk over and check the units and make sure everything is moving at the pace that we want it to move. What's really interesting about it, and you guys have come through and seen some of them before they get renovated, the people that were living here before lived there kind of because they had to, because they didn't have much income, because they just got divorced. Whatever the case is, it was, I don't want to call it Section 8, but a lot of these people that were living here before were getting checks from somewhere else to pay for the rent. They didn't have kitchen sinks. There were no lights in the units. There was like one lamp at the end of the room. They just weren't in great shape. So what we did is we went in, and one of my buddies came through a couple weekends ago and said it felt like the Ritz-Carlton because we added fresh plumbing, we added brand new furniture, we redid the flooring, the lighting, added kitchenettes. We blew out the wall in the bathroom to make the bathroom a whole lot bigger. And it's just a totally different unit now. So when we got them, they were averaging maybe $700 a month in rent long-term. And in the slow season last month, the April numbers just came out. We did an average of $1,500 a unit on the short-term stuff. So we more than doubled the income on it. And we didn't have to put a crazy amount of money into these things. Not cheap, but like you guys said earlier with short-term rentals, you don't want to go too cheap. You want to really make sure you're putting your best foot forward on these. So to do $1,500 a month in the slow season, we're really happy with that because it's far exceeding projections. And I know that once the summer comes, we're already seeing $200, $250 a night get booked out, which we never would have thought was possible.
No, these units are beautiful, dude. And I'm not using that word lightly. Like they truly are. You're sitting in one right now. I know you got the plant behind you, but I know it's the blue unit. And so the resort is called Elements, and you can find that on our link tree. For those listening, if you're driving in the car or you're listening, you want to check out some of these units for yourself. We have livefreehospitality.com, and then also you can go to, like in our link tree, I have it specifically says stay with us at Elements Resort, so you can check out some of the units there. There's also another project. Blue Moon Lodge is our Corey and I's, and then also I believe the Sweet Pea bungalows are in there as well. And that's just another cool project that we got to do with you is, I believe it's 6 units, right? And then there's 2 vacant lots. We can talk about that one as well. But basically with the 43 unit, just to put a bow on it, that's, as I mentioned in the beginning of the episode, your guys' competitive advantage. You're not only there's investors that come in, right? And they come in and they get a property under contract, they buy it, and then they send someone else's team in to go renovate it. And you guys be living there every single day. You get to meet the guests, you get to pick their brains on like why they decide to stay there. And then you get a feel for the vibe of what people are looking for, but you can wake up and start work immediately. And then it basically allows you to churn things faster. And we know time is money in real estate. So I think this deal, I think you mentioned to us, is like it's probably going to be the best deal we ever do. All of us, because it's just, the numbers are working out pretty amazing. So
yeah, we're really happy with it so far. And I think you just hit the nail on the head. Short-term rentals, you said it earlier, the concierge service is super important. The response time and us living on site makes such a big difference. And you can see it in all the reviews. Some of the reviews mention multiple of us by name that have helped them out with something through their stay, saying it was by far the best Airbnb they've ever stayed in. And it's easy for us to accomplish that because we went 110% on every aspect of what we're doing here.
Yep, I love it. And I think that's also what's exciting for Corey and I, but then also for some of our long-term listeners and investors that are like, hey, I want to get into a bigger project. Down the line, we'll have more of these pop up. Your team's always searching up in the Poconos. And like, I know we almost had a really cool A-frame project, but it, XYZ fell through due to the, I believe it was the inspection, which was horrible
conditions of it.
Yeah, but it's fun because some of these things pop up. We need people to come in and invest and get these things underway because they're massive deals, right? So we might put a couple syndications together. I'm not sure if we're going to need that many partners, but it's just something to look out for because these things are coming up. And if you guys are listening and you're interested and you see them pop up, we'll make sure to have them on our website. And JD will have them on the Live Free website, and Corey and I's website is almost complete as well. So we'll have all that listed in our link tree. We'll have an actual process here, but we didn't want to delay the announcement of our partnership anymore because we spent pretty much every day texting back and forth, and we have this whole kind of army of people kind of taking things on right now.
Yeah, no, and basically our process is we'll have a call to action for people at the end of the show, but just to go, since you're already talking about it, basically we're gonna have a form for people to fill out, and if you're interested in getting your own short-term rental that you'd want potentially Live Free to manage or help you find, underwrite, manage, all the above, we're going to have a form for you to fill out. You can check it out in our link tree at Weekly Juice Pod. We'll have it there. Or if you're a current owner and maybe you're struggling to make profits and you have a good product, but you need it to pop and you need Live Free to come in and make sure that, you can make those profits that we know is possible in the market because we've seen it. There'll be a form, or it's probably the same form, but just, the different selections. And then Rye, myself, JD are happy to hop on calls with you to make sure to see if it's the right fit for us to help you. So that was kind of the whole reason for doing it. Again, we'll talk more about it towards the end of the show, but I wanted to mention that everyone listening, like this whole Live Free hospitality, there's opportunity for everyone to get involved, and create either that property for yourself or maybe invest with us on bigger deals.
Yeah. I think we've talked about that at nauseum to, hey, we want to help people. We want to bring people into certain things when we find something that works. And this is something that's worked for us. Yeah. And it's exciting, man. Like we're all about the mantra of the business. Yes. Like you want to fulfill yourself or give yourself that time freedom to do what you want when you want. And this is it's just a cool experience for people to travel to. Like that's what I think the best part about it is, like each one of these units is specifically designed to provide an experience, whether it's a cabin, an apartment, a home. There's barrel saunas, hot tubs, like experiences to go ski, stay lakefront, incredible things that are already under the umbrella for guests to stay. But as an owner too, you're partaking in something that's so unique and special. We already had a couple people from listeners and I guess like followers of our show that bought a beautiful place up in the Poconos through JD's team, and it's like a 7-bedroom property that
brand new construction.
I don't want to like give too much of their information away because we haven't asked their permission. So I just want to say it's a beautiful project that like something that our families would want to go stay at. Obviously, we'd have to get a bunch of people to go up because it's 7 bedrooms.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful, and to see what your team's been able to put together, it's amazing. So that place, you can find that if you want to check it out. It's at Driftwood Lodge. Beautiful photography. But just that'll give you an idea of what JD's team is capable of. And then if you go on at Live Free Hospitality is another handle on Instagram. That's our essentially Instagram for the Live Free Hospitality company, and you'll see all the units. They're already on there, and there's beautiful photography. You'll see what you're getting. And just for us, that was a wow factor too. Like, whoa, you have done some incredible things. We want to be part of it. So we're just excited, man.
So JD, let's talk about you mentioned what Live Free Hospitality actually is, but let's talk about the vision, what your goals are. Yeah, I know you want to scale the company, but kind of give everyone what you think the next year or two could look like for Live Free, and what the purpose of going so hard every day is. Because we talk to you a lot. We know how hard you're working. What's it all for? What's the plan with Live Free Hospitality?
Yeah, sure. So I'll go back to the origin of Live Free Hospitality and how I got into short-term rental management. I actually wanted to just invest passively in real estate, and I had another management company take over some of my short-term rentals early on, and I didn't like how it was going. They weren't doing nearly the numbers I was self-managing, even factoring in the management fee. So I decided to go back and take my units back over. And then one of my buddies said I should start doing management. I didn't necessarily want to, but once I got back into it, I decided to go hard with scaling units. And everything that Live Free Hospitality is about is just creating the perfect management model. And that's what's so different from us to any other company is I own a good number of units. So all of these same systems are applied to my units. And the reason that I make these systems is because it makes the most sense for an owner to have. So all of the things you mentioned earlier, all of the pieces that come in and how people self-manage and they kind of step over dollars to pick up pennies when they're trying to do the design themselves, do all the things that they try to do themselves that they might not know how to do yet. The reason I have people doing those for me is because I know having these other people who are really good at it in that piece of it is going to be much better for me if I can keep scouting deals and making sure the reviews are good on the properties I already have, and let the design team handle what they do, the maintenance team handle what they do, the cleaning team handle what they do. That's the reason I don't clean units anymore or do designs, is because I'm better used elsewhere. And I think that's how a lot of people are. A lot of people out there are really good at something already, whether it's the job they're working in or the business they're running. It doesn't make sense to start over and start a fresh business and try to manage it yourself when there are other people who can do it better. So my vision at this point, and it goes back to what is measured is what gets improved. A lot of management companies are probably checking in every day to see how profitable they are and assessing the business health. Not that we don't. Obviously, we want to make sure our doors are staying open. But the point is to create a completely passive short-term rental management company that's going to benefit the owners. And to keep buying real estate ourselves, keep doing cool projects like the Elements Resort and the Sweet Pea deal, to be able to continue to do stuff like that and know that it's going to be run effectively. That's the big vision from an investor end. And then from the hospitality end, the thing that we measure every day are the reviews. The reviews, the revenues for the owners, just making sure that those things are running smoothly, because the rest will take care of itself after that.
Cool. I want to mention too, probably the biggest benefit that I saw with your team is that the insight into the market, because you live there. And I know we mentioned this a little bit, but so many people have reached out to us about, I want to get into short-term rentals. I want to do that. But I noticed this when I'm purchasing a property in the Tampa market. But I noticed that I really had to connect with a management company there. I had to connect with realtors there. I had to connect with contractors there for me to know what the numbers would be. So the point is that this whole package is right there for people to go for the taking. But do you want to do all of that yourself? Like, the underwriting is a complicated process when it comes to short-term rentals. Why not talk to a team who lives there full time and can tell you, no, that property is not going to work. It's not going to do what you think it's going to do. This one is, and here's the reasons why. And that was what helped us with our personal property.
Yeah, and to your point, Cor, it not only comes down to the size of the property, the bedrooms, but the location, there's a lot of HOAs up in the Poconos, and some of them don't.
We actually got bit by that a little bit too, in a way. It didn't end up being like a huge bite, but like we didn't realize that that our HOA, and the numbers end up working out regardless, but there's like a $50 fee per guest, right? So that, go ahead, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but all of that is a factor, and that's what, like JD had sent us a list of, these are the townships, because not every township in the Poconos is short-term rental friendly. Then after you get to the township level, you go into the actual like section of the HOA level, and then there's all different types of rules. So if you want to go figure that out on your own, it's tough. It's
a huge undertaking. And
yeah.
JD's team, not only from living up there, boots on the ground, they get to know the people that live there and the people in the right places to say, hey, listen, this is going to be cracked down on in 3 months. Don't invest here. So, but to the HOA point, back to your point, is like on our website, on livefreehospitality.com, we actually have an HOA section that JD craftily put together, basically says, hey, stay away from these HOAs and the other ones are good. And so it's just to know that the team has the knowledge and the wherewithal to go and attack this thing on a daily basis is awesome. JD, also, I think I want to talk about the benefits of, you also got the company up on, I think it was like the bureau's office. I'm probably saying this wrong, but I know that you have some really good connections within the community now. That is another competitive advantage for us and people that are looking to come through with the Live Free team.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're part of the Pocono Mountain Visitors Bureau. You can find us on their website. They get a lot of traffic. You can also see things to do in the Poconos. They really care about the Poconos, and it's cool to be partnered with them and to be offered as an accommodation player in the space. The other cool thing that I've noticed is local real estate brokerages will refer people to stay with us too, because they've seen some of our units, they see what we do, and that we're focused on hospitality. So that's been great for us.
Yeah, I think it's incredible. As I mentioned, I probably said it so many times throughout the episode, but to have you guys boots on the ground and building those relationships are so key, because that's just going to open up more doors to say, hey, listen, like XYZ property is going to be opening up where you guys can go in and take it as an off-market deal at this price, or the banks, this one's getting foreclosed on. There's just so many little things. Or, hey, we'll give guests discounts at restaurants, bars, golf courses. There's just a lot of things where you have the whole team up there. You can say, hey, Mikey, Ty, Gunner, go meet with XYZ today, or JD, you go do that, right? And then it just it's a long-term vision that I like with it. There's so much room for opportunity, and you guys have already done such a phenomenal job with it. It's exciting to see, and I think that's a huge benefit for anyone looking to come with the team. So
yeah, those relationships are actually wanted by the people that are on the township committee board meetings, the banks up there, people that are kind of running the show, mayors. They want people like you, JD, in there, because there's such an economic growth actually that's going on up there. There's Amazon warehouses being built. There's bigger hotels that are being built. But
Margaritaville's going up there.
Yeah, there's a Margaritaville. But my point is that tourism and hospitality is a major economic driver in the Poconos. So to have a company like Live Free Hospitality that's doing such a good job bringing people there, then when the people come there, they spend money. So they go skiing, they go out to eat, and all of that can help uplift the community. So if there's properties that are not doing well or not in great shape, if our team can buy them, fix them, renovate them, it raises property value, which inherently it raises taxes, which brings more money in to the actual townships that are there. So it's kind of a win-win situation, even though sometimes we have to reiterate that to the townships, because sometimes it's a fight with the townships because of just, random rules that have been in place for a while.
Handling the process from A to Z, kind of like walking people through it again from your eyes, like how you guys underwrite the deals and maybe some of the marketing stuff.
So the process really is, we have a team of agents up here who go out and look at houses every day. As soon as they come to market, we check out the listings if we think they'd be good for STR. Once they pass the eye test, we can send videos out, or you can schedule a time to come up and see the house. But we're on the ground looking for deals constantly. We have a team of people who are doing that. From there, once we get something locked up, that's when you can start working and playing around with design ideas. If anything's needed, some of these houses already come furnished. And after you close, then it's right into the management play, where we can take care of everything for you. And the nice thing with how we run the agent team is we as a management company obviously see all the data on how rentals are performing throughout any given month. We have all types of rentals already. So I've actually said no to more houses than I've said yes. Like I've had people send me houses and be like, hey, I think I'm going to buy this for a short-term rental. And I'm like, we shouldn't go for that one. Let's just wait until a different one comes up. Because I personally don't like to sell anything that I wouldn't buy myself. Which a lot of people will then ask, why didn't you just buy it? And it's because I can't buy every single house that comes up. I'm not made of money. We've already got the resort project going. Like I'm tied up in a lot of things. So not having people buy something I wouldn't buy and the agents on our team doing the same thing is a really key place because we have all the data. We know what works and what doesn't. And just because something might look a little flashy, we can tell you it's overpriced or maybe XYZ amenity isn't as important as you think. Let's wait for something else. So we can definitely help people with the sales process. And then it goes right into that review process that we are constantly scrubbing.
We can vouch for this process too, because I in the beginning, I got all excited after we closed on our first short-term rental. I was trying to look for a second one really quick, and I sent a bunch to JD, and he's like beautiful A-frames, and he's like, yeah, like looks good, but not zoned for short-term rentals. And I'm like, well, okay, that can't do that. So just having that knowledge is really helpful.
Yeah, and to have someone that is not going to sell you something that they wouldn't do themselves is huge. There's a transparency level too, right? If you're as an agent, like you're making a commission no matter what. So for us, I think it just makes sense. The team makes money when the properties perform. So why would you want to sell someone a property that's not going to perform? It just would be a headache for everyone involved. So, and it's even cooler to go to people that already have portfolios to say, hey, listen, these are all the unique properties that we have under our belt, and here's how we've serviced them with XYZ stats. Let us take on your properties and manage those as well. I'm just thinking about like, there's a certain allure to having beautiful properties under the Live Free umbrella, right? At some point here, we're kind of talking vision again here too. So I'm going to kind of like give you a layup here to talk more about the future vision, but you're going to start handpicking properties to bring into the company. We're already at 100 units right now. Is there a sweet spot that you think will be optimal? And then you think you'll shave off some units, or what's like the end game here to be fully optimized in your eyes?
So that's the challenge with management is there are different critical points where the number of units you have matter because then you can make some key hires and make some adjustments. And I'd say that's probably the biggest benefit of working with us is we are able to leverage our size to get better deals on everything with vendors. So the prices we can get for cleaning, the prices we can get for maintenance. I mean, just to get a maintenance person out in the Poconos to have a handyman come out, like imagine you need a curtain rod hung back up. You're not going to get someone to drive 20, 30 minutes to come hang that curtain rod. But if we have several houses in the same area and maybe they're fixing a leak here, they're doing the curtain rod there, they're changing some light bulbs here, it's now worth it to make the drive. So one of the big parts of the vision for the management company is getting more concentrated units so that we can share that cost savings for cheaper cleaning, cheaper maintenance, cheaper everything right back with the homeowners that we service. Because we're going to keep buying units up here. And it's good to be able to share those resources and contacts and just leverage each other's properties to get better deals for everyone.
Completely agree. And I think the fun part for me is when you guys get something on a new unit under contract, then you get the beautiful photos taken. We have 2 professional photographers, one in Philly, one in Poconos that, we kind of cycle through. And then you drop us the link, then we toss it up on on social media to see the comments and likes coming through. It's so rewarding to see this whole thing come full circle because, when we first started this, let's call it, well, you started this a while ago, but when we first came in, you were like, guys, I need help with the rebrand of this. The color was red, and you were like, it's something about it. Like, it's not, the brand identity is not where I see it. And so we went in, we had a meeting of the minds. We went in, we created a new logo. You guys have the t-shirts, the hats, like everybody's bought into it. But to live and breathe it now and see it 6 months later is so incredible because everyone is just full steam ahead. And I know we brought someone in to help out with the website, to help out with the direct bookings, and to see the website come alive, to see the social media come alive, to see you guys repping the brand, and just everything kind of we're at that point where I think it's really just going to turn the corner even further than it already has. To get 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago to take on 25 more units, pretty incredible, dude. So things are working well. What do you see as like the holes of the company as of right now? Like being transparent, where do you think we can essentially like get better because nothing's perfect?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say from here, everything just takes time. I mean, you guys plugged a big hole. I know that the team is working super hard every day on the performance, on the reviews, on the revenues. And that's where you guys came in clutch, because if we're spending 16, 18 hours a day each, just making sure that everything is where it needs to be from an operational level, we don't have any way to showcase what it is that we're doing. Like as much as I would love to, I just don't have the time to email out or make social media posts, or like even if I wanted to. So just to make sure everything is operating, that was big for you guys to fill that marketing end. Other than that, I mean, I think we just need scale. I think that's how we can continue to really leverage ourselves, because we have properties. As for people out there that don't know, the Poconos, everything is 20 minutes away from each other, no matter which HOA you're in. You could be at one and you're 20 minutes from any other one that you want. Just by the way that the roads operate and stuff up here. And right now we have maybe 4 or 5 places in 10 to 12 different communities, which is really cool. But I think we'll really start seeing a lot of power when we have 10, 20, 30 units in one community, where our cleaners that are dialed in and our maintenance vendors that are dialed in are even more likely to just put their best foot forward. And it was awesome when the shirts came out. Cleaners were starting to ask for them. Like, everyone saw them and everyone's asking for them. So that's the cool thing with the team here, is we know the whole team's bought in. It's not just collect a paycheck and go home. Like, everyone just really cares about the vision together, and wants to do it. Like, I don't think anyone on the team would be doing anything else with their time, no matter what someone else offered them.
Yeah,
That's great.
I think it's a testament to you, dude. You have put these systems in place, but also you've put the culture together. And I think it just dials back to the live free movement that you had before the company was even a thing. It's just like, we all want time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom, and to do the things we want when we want. But there's also with that being said, right, there's something about waking up every day and having a purpose and being excited about taking something on and building and creating. Like, whether, I know you're a numbers guy, but you're creative too, dude. Like, you got, like, it's written all over you. I mean, just I've seen the way you think and the way you do things, and that to me is cool, because I feel as if I'm a creative person, and I can't, in certain aspects of my 9 to 5 and other aspects of my life, I can't show that creativity, or I can't get excited about things, but I can with your team. And I see that we came up, we checked out the units, and you just see the whole squad looks to you as like the guiding light and the guy that has been through the trenches. You've seen highs, you've seen lows. They're like, hey, I want to get to be where JD has. Like, we haven't even touched on that you have I know it's up for sale right now, but a beautiful penthouse out in Hawaii that you had on a short-term rental basis, and you were absolutely killing it. And you reached a level of success that these young guys that you have in your team are like, wow, I want to aspire to be that. And you will feed them and help them, guide them to that, if they get up and grind every day and are part of this. And there's a lot to it. I mean, you guys travel and you go to shows together and do a lot of things, and it's family at this point, right? Which is, that to me was one of the biggest things to say, sure, like, yes, I want to be in and I want to be part of this team, right? We didn't just dive in because it was the first opportunity that jumped our way. It's like, no, we vetted this thing, and just maybe a little context behind the scenes of like how Corey and I thought about it. We went through a lot of conversations, and we were like, listen, like, this is the right fit for us. And we see a very successful future, but truly there's purpose behind it. There's fun behind it. And there's no, I don't wake up in dread thinking about it. Like, it's one of the first things I think about. I'm like, dude, this is sweet. You guys are building something so amazing, fun, and creative that I think anyone that knows us and that is like us would want to be part of. So we appreciate the opportunity, and it's been so fun so far, dude. And I can't wait to just grow this thing with you. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, likewise. The culture was a big piece of everything, like you said. One thing that I like to do, because once I started seeing like, okay, I got the penthouse in Hawaii, I got the Tesla, I got the things that I used to like sit on my Philly stoop and dream about. I didn't really have many people to share them with. So one thing that I started doing a while back, before I started, like, as soon as I started bringing people on, was I would notice like things that people on the team were doing or things that they wanted to get to, and I would weekly just go through and write everyone's name down on a list, and then spend like a half an hour on that person and try to write down like what things I think they could switch or change about what they're focusing on, or what they could learn to improve their lifestyle, improve their skill set to get them to a better point in their life. And I've seen it with Ty firsthand. He was network marketing. He was working at a big accounting firm, dropped it, scary stuff to go to a path that's not yet written. But for him now, like guys selling 3-4 houses a month, like he's way farther ahead than he could have ever dreamed of, while still working a salary job with me, taking care of all the operations. So to see his level of efficiency crank up by copying some of the habits that I have every day, by doing some of the things that I've been writing down on sheets for years, like a weekly check-in, hey, try to switch these things up. It's cool to see a lot of these younger guys really take that advice and run with it and become what they are now.
Yeah, I'll say firsthand, Ty's an ace. He's an A player.
Yep.
And we talked about this. We have monthly board meetings, which is cool. We kind of crack heads on a lot of things. But in our most recent one, we were talking about this. We were talking about, potentially hiring someone, an operations manager to come in, right? And I know you're going through the process with someone now. And if you have a certain dollar amount, you're not, and Mike Ayala, we had a couple episodes ago, he talked about this as well. And it was kind of funny how we were going through this exact situation. It's like, it takes a certain amount of revenue to hire an A player, right? Because they know, most of them know they're an A player, they know their worth, and they have an internal motor, but you're gonna have to pay for that. So you homegrew Ty, right? Like you guys came in and did this together, and you're an A player, he's an A player, which is amazing, and then it helps uplift the rest of the team, whether you have some C or B players. I'm not saying you do, but for anyone you bring in, say, hey, at this point, we can only afford a B player. We're going to try our hardest to get an A, but with the revenue that we have, maybe we'll get a B, maybe we'll get a C. Hopefully it's an A, but I think for whoever we bring in, say you land on a B player in any facet of the business, having you and Ty kind of at the head of this thing, it's going to uplift everybody else up to that level, and they're going to see how like intense you guys crank on things. And I think it's only going to benefit the team as a whole. Another thing I will say is, just a side note, it is really cool to watch you guys do. It's a mentality and the way you feel kind of shines through the business. And for you guys to start, I know you do it as part of the culture piece, the 75 hard. It's working out twice a day, no drinking for 75 days. And there's probably a couple other things involved in there too that I'm missing. But to have a clear head, wake up every day and have like a schedule where you're like, whoa, I have to work out twice today and still get all the stuff I need to do, get it done. I think it just enhances efficiency, and it's just a fun little thing you guys do to compete with yourself. And I think doing that, it just kind of shows you have that internal motor to run through brick walls. There's a lot of people that are slightly lazier than that. And to have you at the head doing things like that, and just that's one little piece behind the scenes that I want to share with people, because that, to me, I was like, man, these guys are beasts. They do so much on a regular basis, and they're doing this. So I think it's cool, man. You're doing a lot behind the scenes on the culture piece too. That's woven through the business, and you can clearly see it's making a big difference. So
yeah, I mean, once you do the 75 hard once, you see how it changes your life, like what you can accomplish over just the course of 75 days. And like, I've noticed that even though I'm efficient when I'm not on it, just having to kind of plan your day out. And one piece that I've taken with me that's in a deeper phase of the 75 hard that I still do no matter what phase it is a critical task list. The night before, or the first thing I do when I wake up, is I write down 8 things that I need to do that day. I jot down everything that I think I want to do, but then I prioritize the 8 that really need to happen that day, and that I can go to bed happy as long as those 8 things are done. And when you're on the hard, it's way easier to do that. I do that every day, but when you're on the hard, those things just crank out. Even if they're like things that you look at and you're like, dude, each one of these things is going to take like 1 to 2 hours. I can crank out 8 of those a day. Just put my phone away and work on that thing. And that's what really takes the business efficiency up.
Definitely
us to have the quality that we have.
Seems basic to people listening probably, but it's so hard to do. I have a list, an ongoing list, and right, it's so hard to prioritize because there'll be things you could do, and it's just one, rip the Band-Aid, and then it's done. But there's a lot of things that you have to send people for feedback, and then it goes through layers. And then when it finally gets done, you're like, dude, it's been like a couple weeks, a month. Like, at this point, I don't even fucking care about it anymore. It's pissing me off. So it's to be able to go through this and shorten that window, right, and getting it done faster, it gives you a different edge than other people, because you're getting 8 things done in a day where it might take them 2 weeks to get those 8 done. So it's just cool. It frames your mind differently. Corey's done it before. I have not, so I can't say I'm not part of the club yet, but I think that might have to be my, what do you want to call it? My, I don't know. What I
New Year's resolution.
There you go. Initiation into the club. But yeah, man.
When are you getting started?
Dude, I don't know. I feel stupid to say, but I can't say tomorrow. I wish I could. Homefront's a little busy at the moment.
Yeah, we'll get you on it.
Yeah, we'll get on.
But so JD, I mean, to echo what Rye was saying, I'm just thankful to be a part of the team. I think we're super excited about the vision, the creative aspect that you bring to the business, the future of it. I think it's something that I'm proud to be a part of every day. In closing, I want to talk about, first of all, follow us at Live Free Hospitality on Instagram, because we built that, or we've created that Instagram account, www.livefreehospitality.com. That's our website. But if you're interested, you've listened to this episode and you want to get a short-term rental for your own, maybe you own one already, you're looking to maybe branch out and have the Live Free team manage it, see what our processes and systems are like, have a conversation with JD, Rye, or myself. The best way to do it is to go to our Instagram handle at Weekly Juice Pod, and in our link tree where there's a form where you can fill it out. We'll get your information and we'll schedule a time to chat. But we're excited about growing the team. We're excited about growing the business, and we've had a lot of people on the show. You know, you're our 160th episode, and we don't have partnerships with all 160 people, right? So I'm proud to have had you on for the second time, and to share this story, your story, with everyone, and to be a part of what you do every day. So we want to thank you so much for coming on. And yeah.
You have one more thing to touch on real quick, and that's that we've recently partnered with a developer in the area to build houses specific for short-term rental. Wanted to drop it on this episode, but we just finished the plans and are ready to start building A-frames to spec, like however you want it designed on the interior. We can do A-frames now, and we can do cabins like Driftwood Lodge. So elite products. And I've spent years working on this. So this was something I was working on for myself. I had been talking to all types of banks, all types of developers, and we can now build them cheaper, and we have the perfect lender lined up so that it's a low barrier to entry to get into these things. And we're happy to share those contacts and get you started with those.
Yeah, I think that's another benefit that maybe we forgot to mention during the episode is it's not just the management aspect of it, and not just the buying process that we go through. It's like we have connections with lenders. We have connections with contractors. It's really a one-stop shop, and that's why we're so proud of the whole product itself. So those A-frames are amazing. We're trying to put one on one of our existing deals. We're going to put one on one of our existing deals. And these lakefront new construction properties are absolutely incredible. And again, at Driftwood Lodge, PA, I believe it is. That's just an example of one, but they're truly like immaculate homes, and who wouldn't want to stay in them? They're, instead of getting $200-$300 a night, you can get $500 or $600 a night on a property like this. Obviously, there's a higher barrier to entry on new construction, but it really it makes sense once you see these properties.
Yeah, it's funny to talk about this, but it's like you can search all you want and try to find the perfect property and then go in and wipe it out and redesign it, or you can now build something custom, ground up. That's the coolest thing. We, as we mentioned, Driftwood Lodge. So the handle, once again, just people, please go check this out. Their place is beautiful. It's at Driftwood Lodge, PA, on Instagram. Then you can find their Airbnb link, and it's on our site as well. But that's one example, and that's big cabin, right? But then an A-frame, those are, you see there's actually, I think, on Airbnb a specific like cabin icon you can go and view them. But the fact that you have a developer that's locked in now to put these up is amazing. And these are truly, these types of properties, the unique style of the property is what sets them apart from other ones. When you're just scrolling on Airbnb, people go for experiences, right? So we could talk for another like 3 hours on this, which we pretty much do every day between us three. But appreciate you sharing, JD. You have so many connections. We are just excited to be able to finally bring some real estate to our listeners. We've talked about it for a long time, and now we have a one-stop shop. And if you're up in the Poconos or you're looking in the Poconos,
or if you don't live anywhere near the Poconos, right? You just want to invest there too. We have a lot of people that invest from across the country that live in Tennessee or Florida, California. Like these people that we've connected. Sorry, I did not mean to cut you off, but like you don't have to live here. You just have to understand that the market is a special one. So that's another thing. We happen to live close by, and JD lives there, but you don't have to.
Exactly right. So, JD, appreciate your time, man. I mean, it's hearing your story again from start to finish has been amazing. You've been through a lot and had seen success at such a young age, and age is only a number, right? But You've had a lot of experience. You got an amazing team working with you every single day, and we're just excited to be part of it. So thanks again, man. It's been a pleasure having you on.
Yeah, thank you guys. I'm excited to give value to everyone who wants to be financially free, and anyone who wants to come stay in the Poconos, give the guests the best experience. And I'm really looking forward to our partnership. I think we're about to take over.
Likewise, man. Can't wait.
Thanks for tuning in this week to the Weekly Juice Podcast. If you liked what you heard, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, and share with friends. The more ratings we get, the more ears we'll get on our show, and in turn, we'll be able to provide you with more high-quality guests. You can also find us on Instagram at Weekly Juice Pod, where we post daily tips and tricks and document our own journey towards financial freedom. Make sure to tune in every Wednesday to get your weekly juice.